This candle is burning my tulips. That's how fires are started, kids. Hello, my name is Anna. I'm an avid reader and writer, among many other things, and I read a great amount of good books in 2024. But these books are the best books I read in 2024. And I thought I would share them with you, in case you were wondering, in case you were curious. If you're new to my channel, I sometimes, every once in a blue moon, although I'd like for it to be more, share my thoughts on books that I've read. And this is one of those times. Subscribe if you'd like to. You don't have to. I think it's fun to share these things. This is me selling my soul to you. Just give 5 more seconds, just let it sink in. You can subscribe if you want to. Please subscribe. This is me selling my soul, please. Okay, let's get into it. Where I'm gonna start is just so happens to be the first book that I read of 2024. And that is this beautiful, beautiful thing. Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. This is the best book I have ever read so far in my short life that I've lived. Yes. I love this book with every fiber of my soul. I recommend this book to anybody who I know is struggling with anything, is interested in poetry and writing in general, is an artist, period, point blank period, is a creative. Anyone who's going through a tumultuous time, anytime someone is in love, anytime someone is feeling lost. If you're just existing, this book is for you. This book is a beautiful account of letters sent back and forth between the young poet and author Rainer Maria Rilke. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. I've heard many pronunciations. Don't know which one is correct, so you know what I mean. We're sticking with this one, Rainer Maria Rilke. It's a beautiful, beautiful account of these letters that were sent back and forth between the young poet who was looking for advice from one of his favorite poets at the time, Rilke. And it is just, like, I'm pretty sure Rilke was around 30 years old at the time that he wrote these letters, which is crazy to be 30 years old, to be any age that is not 100 years old and be able to have such wisdom. It's beautiful, it's beautiful. This poet is just young and has all these like insecurities and questions, and he sends Rilke his writing, and Rilke responds to it and gives him the best advice. It's a very short book. You could get through it in one sitting. I did. You can too, I promise. I'm a slow reader. I really like to absorb, and I got through this in one sitting. So I have faith in you. Please, if you're going to read one book this year, make it this book. If you're going to read no books this year, read this book, okay? You're going to read this book, and you're going to like it, and you're going to come in back and tell me, and and you will say to me, wow, Anna, that was such a good recommendation. I'm so glad you recommended me that book. My life has changed. And I'm going to look at you, and I said, exactly. Just as Rilke would have wanted. Moving on to the next book. This is not an order of how I read them in the year, by the way, or order of how much I liked them, by the way. That last one just so happened to be the first book that I read in 2024. It was on January 1st. A great book to read on January 1st. Anyways, the next book we have is a collection of short stories, and that is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I had wanted to read this book for all of 2023 and just never got around to buying it. And I think I got it for my birthday. I think my mom got it for me. I adored this book so much. It is surreal, it is gross, it is has an edge to it, but above all else, it's feminist. And so this is a collection of short stories that basically go through all these women's different lives, all these different characters' different lives, this like psychological realism, science fiction, all intermingled into this beautiful, beautiful woven cloth. And it is just, my favorite story from this collection, I believe is called The Husband Stitch. I love that one. I hope you will like it too when you read it, because you will read it, because I'm telling you that you should. The next book I want to read by Carmen Maria Machado is In the Dream House. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, she has that book. She might have another. I'm not really sure. But that's Her Body and Other Parties. Okay. The next book we all know and love, or if you don't love it, you probably know of it. And that is On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Now, this book entails basically not letters, but a letter from a son to a mother, and there is a language barrier between them. And it is just pure poetry. It's just pure poetry. It's beautiful, it's touching, it's raw, and sometimes it can be triggering. Content warning. For the last book too, but especially for this one. It's also queer. It's a queer author. It's beautiful. It was just a beautiful, beautiful, touching piece. Ocean Vuong has a wonderful poetry book. Has a couple, I think. The one that I've read is Time is a Mother. I think that's what it's called. That's the one that I've read. And it's also beautiful. There's a bit of a backstory behind this book. I'd gone into my local bookstore looking for this book. They didn't have it. The next time that I went in, my friend who works at the bookstore, who isn't really my friend, more than an acquaintance that I've made / friend, just because I go into this bookstore in my town so often. And the next time that I went in, he had left this book for me, which was so, so kind. This is his own copy, by the way. It is dog-eared with all the pages that had something that stuck out to him on it, which I think is just the sweetest thing. I read through this in a heartbeat. I recommend this book, again, to anyone and everyone. It's a beautiful read. It's awesome. It's lovely. The prose are just amazing. And yeah, Ocean Vuong. The next book is South and West by Joan Didion, and this is basically a collection of entries from a notebook that Didion kept while she was traveling the South with her partner, her husband at the time. Yeah. And it's just so... Her writing, we all know that Joan Didion is a fantastic writer, but I feel like if you want to get into Joan Didion, don't start with South and West. Start with Slouching Towards Bethlehem or Played As It Lays, one of the classic ones. The next book you want to read after that is South and West. I feel like here you just see raw Didion. Like, it's just, all of her work is quite raw, but here it is really just a beautiful encapsulation. It's a time capsule of a time and a place that is very saturated with this dense, heavy mood. Reading this book felt like wearing a pair of 70s glasses that have like a yellow grainy tint. Like, I felt like the story that she was telling, from the story that unfolded from her diary, from her notebook, really just had this tint over it, this warm but also kind of grungy tint. And that's the best way I can describe this book. A beautiful time capsule. It really entails like the American culture of the 1970s and the political landscape of that time, which of course is always going to be quite something to read about. Yeah, I love this book. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Highly recommend. The last not least book is Simple Passion by Annie Ernaux. Now, this is a translated book because Annie Ernaux is a French writer, obviously, of course, and it was translated by Tanya Leslie. This is also a very, very short book. Also a one-sitting read. Again, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm a slow reader. Doesn't matter if you're a slow reader, doesn't matter if, like, this would be, you know what? This would be a great book to read if you want to get back into reading or if you want to start reading. It's so punchy, to the point, and exciting because it is a documentation of a 2-year affair that is had with a married man. It's just a really fun book to read. At times it is vulgar, at times it is a little depressing because, well, actually, I don't know if I'd say it's depressing. Some parts could be read as depressing, maybe. But it's also just passionate. It's just love. It's just unadulterated passion, and it's fun, and it's quick, and I love Annie Ernaux so much. This is the book for yearners. If you are a yearner, read this book. You will feel seen. Anyways, those are the 5 best books I read in 2024. If you have read any of them, or if you do read any of them, please let me know in the comments. I would love to see your thoughts on them. My favorite thing is exchanging thoughts about reading and writing. I love it so much, and if you are similar, I'd love to have you follow me along. Also, if you want, I have a blog coming out, and you're welcome to read it, because I am a firm believer in bringing back the blog. 2025 is the year of the blog, and I stand by that. That is my prediction for 2025, is that the blog is going to come back in a very serious, big way. And I am going to be posting a formatted version of my reviews, a more in-depth review on these books, among other things. So if you want to check it out, I will probably, hopefully, have it linked in the description of this video. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I love you so very much. I love you all. Okay. Off to read my books for 2025.